Hello, everyone. Boy, it's been a long time since I've come on uh, this YouTube channel and made a video. I've been working on Facebook Live a lot and just haven't made any videos of late. But I wanted to make a video for prayer mates out there. Maybe you've been in my class, or I've prayed with you, or we have a relationship, a friendship, and we're walking with one another in our faith. And we're thinking about how to minister to others, how to accompany others. We all meet people every day, and sometimes we hear a prompting from the Holy Spirit, to reach out to someone, or maybe we notice they're sick, or maybe we notice they look depressed or down, um, or we know about some type of big thing that's happened in their life, and you suspect that they, want somebody to talk to. I entitled this little video, "Listen." It's one of those traits, it's one of those things that we can do for people that is rarely talked about. And yet, I think it is one of the most important things that we can do for people. Um, we're all very familiar with when we look at Jesus and we look at his life, right? It's often we take note of the things that he said, right? The things that he taught us. Also the things that he did, right? He healed the sick. He gave sight to the blind. He delivered those who were oppressed by the devil. He delivered those people from oppression. He ministered to people. He um, taught them, walked with them, and he even laid down his life for us, you know. And so we think of those things when we think of Jesus, right? We think of those things. And what we don't really see, and I'm not thinking, I can't think of a scripture verse right now that conveys it, but just the woman at the well came to my mind right now, maybe to imagine that scene. But we can't think of very many scenes where Jesus is listening. And yet I suspect that he did a lot of listening, a lot of listening. The woman at the well, um, talked, shared her views, talked about her life, and Jesus listened, right? And she felt that love from him. She also recognized he was a prophet because Jesus actually spoke into her and told her things that she had done that there's no way Jesus could have known, right? You say you have no husband, but you've had five, and the man you're living with now is not your husband, right? So she knew that he was a prophet. She knew that he was special. And I suspect one of the things that she picked up from him was the fact that she was approachable, or he was approachable to her. He meets her at the well and he speaks to her, and he even asks her for something. He asks her for a drink, you know? And when you ask somebody something, it's saying that you care about them and that you want to hear from them, or you want to know them, right? When you ask them something, Jesus asked this woman to can you give me a drink? Can I get a drink? You know, and she said, "Oh, you don't even have a bucket. How are you going to give me? How am I going to give you a drink?" But the reason I bring this up is because listening is a great gift that we can give to people. Just today, I was walking in the neighborhood and walking my dogs, and there was a woman. She was sitting outside, And I know that her husband just died in the last couple of weeks. And I thought, as I saw her outside, I thought, oh, I want to go over and talk to her. And distinctly, distinctly, I heard God say to me, not in an audible voice, but I just had this thought come to my mind was, no, Curtis, listen, go and listen to her. She needs somebody to listen to her. And I thought, right, of course, I don't need to go and tell her anything or talk about my life or anything like that. So I went up to her and I said, so, hi, how are you doing today? How's things going? You know? And I asked her a question about her life, how's things going since your husband passed? You know, what are you doing out here today? And she was doing some work outside on the sidewalk. And I said, "Oh, so what are you doing?" And we ended up talking about work. And she shared with me how having some kind of work to do outside gets her mind off the fact that her husband's died. And she was married for 55 years. Um, and having that work was helpful for her. And so she talked to me about that. And she talked to me about, we went to all sorts of topics, but mostly I was listening and I was just asking more questions. And so, oh, did you meet here? And she says, oh yeah. And she started to tell me where they met and so forth. And so she's sharing a little bit about her life and about her husband. Um, and so sometimes I think when we meet people, right? When we meet people, we think that we need to be able to tell them something, right? So my first impression or my first thought was when I saw her outside was like, oh, I'm gonna go up to her and ask her how she's doing, but then just get into a conversation. I'll end up talking about something I'm doing or whatever. And it was like, no, the Lord was saying to me, no, Curtis, I don't want you to talk, right? I want you to go and just show an interest in her and listen to her. Allow her to feel heard. When we feel heard, we feel loved, right? And we don't feel alone any longer, right? If someone can hear us, if someone can listen to us, if someone shows interest in us, if someone asks about, what's going on in our life, and then giving people freedom just to talk and then just sit back and listen. Allow them to know that they're being heard by you is a great thing to do as prayer mates. If you have someone in your life who you pray with, who is a good friend and you pray together periodically or you talk about your life together, that component of listening is such a gift to give to people. Um, there's a lot of talking going on. There's a lot of information being shared. We can listen to many voices out there. And mostly those voices are giving us information, right? But there's very few people who approach listening from the standpoint of um, showing care and concern for someone. So I can listen to someone and listen to the information that they're giving me, right? And then I'm preparing what I'm going to say to them, right? So I listen just long enough to figure out what I'm going to say to them. The art of listening or showing care for someone by listening is not needing to share anything with them, not feeling like I have to get my point across. It's not a debate or that I have to express my views to them. I want to make sure they hear my views. That happens a lot in politics. But no, listening to care, to show care and concern for folks. And so when you meet someone and someone who is going through a difficult time, and there's so many people like that today, um, There's still people, I don't know where you're at with all of this, but there are still people that are quarantined because of the pandemic. They just feel like they can't go out. And then of course there's all of those people that are in nursing homes, um, who have had few visitors, during this time of COVID. And so they haven't had people come to listen to them, right? I've gone to the homeless shelter this morning, and I've gone, in for the past couple of weeks, and I run into this one man, in particular. I have a video on the YouTube channel of him. His name's Jeff, and today I went over there and I saw Jeff, and it was like I was just there to listen to him, and show him that, hey, I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. Just wanted to come by, see how you're doing, what's going on in your life, and what are your plans, and what efforts are you been making to, to get housing, and just how you feeling, and how's your health, and just showing an interest in him and just listening to him. It's seeing what he has to talk about. And we had a good visit today, really good visit. And I feel like that was my gift to him, really, to let him know that he's not alone, right? That there's somebody else out in the world that cares for him, um, and I'll see you again. I'll be back here next week. So, that type of thing we can offer to people. And sometimes, we don't have you don't might not have a scheduled time when you do that, right? I do that on Fridays. I go to the homeless shelter. You might not have a scheduled time where you do something like that. But look for those opportunities where there are people all around you. And if they strike up a conversation with you, they might just need to be heard, and allow them to talk. And certainly, if they start to tell you about something bad going on in their life, or just sit back and listen, ask them questions, and go, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." And then, of course, always offer to, you know, always offer to pray with them. But the listening is actually a preamble to prayer. Um, People, if you listen to them, you can build up trust with people as well. Well, wow, that person, they weren't pushing their own agenda. They listened to me. And so that people grow to trust you, right? And if someone can trust you with the information they're sharing with you, to keep it to yourself and to show care and concern, then they may just trust you enough to pray with you as well. And Jeff and I prayed today. The man I saw at the shelter today. But there's the opportunity for God to come. For God to come and touch their hearts, and they can realize that God is listening to them, that God is close to them. In a lot of ways, you're playing Jesus, right? You are going out, you're seeing people, and when you meet someone, sometimes the greatest gift that you can give them is your listening ear. So I just wanted to share that with you all today. And we don't think about listening much. We don't think about that as being a way to minister to others. But I have found that it is something that a lot of people really need. They really need someone to just listen to them, right? Not tell them how to fix their life, not tell them what they should be doing and not doing. Just listen. They don't need your advice. They probably have heard everything under the sun. If they're going through something, they probably have heard it all. But they'd love to just have somebody listen to them. All right. Well, God bless you all. I just wanted to make this little video today and share this with you. All right. Well, take care.